Hello, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me in another of my little chit chats with you. I've just bought a rather remarkable book. It's called The Emperor Wears No Clothes, and it's by Jack Herer, who unfortunately is no longer with us, but was a campaigner, big style, from I think the 80s onwards, about the wonders of hemp and all the different things that one could use it. And he'd published this book some time ago. This is the, what is this, the 14th edition. It's been a sort of an underground book of information about a plant that potentially, if it were allowed and the authorities weren't doing what the authorities tend to do, and that is sort of take away all the good things in life and put in place bad things, this could save the world. And I wanted to find out a bit more because, as you know, I recently had a problem with my leg and I was taking some CBD oil, which comes from hemp seeds, or the hemp plant, I should say. And the CBD oil was quite amazing, took the pain away. Now, I've not been somebody who's really looked into this. Now, there'll be a lot of people out there who will go, Richard, you're behind the scene, you know, you're behind the curve, you're well behind. People will know about this sort of stuff. Perhaps you've already got a copy of this book, perhaps you read it, perhaps you're somebody who takes it recreationally, or perhaps you take it for the medicinal purposes, whichever. Yes, so I've been fairly ignorant about all of this, and it's fascinating to see another layer of something that has been removed from everyday occurrence and made in many cases illegal, or has a sort of nasty ring to it, if you see what I mean, or at least that's the idea. And then you discover, like so many things in this world, this topsy-turvy world, that everything that we've been told is bad turns out to be good, and everything that we're told is good for us turns out not to be as good for it. And the thing about the hemp plant, I mean, I mentioned this the other day, and my fascination has grown and grown with it. So hemp, I mean, just looking at the cover of this book, it shows you that at one time, hemp was used as canvas. It was a universal thing, and everybody was using hemp. It was used as canvas, clothing, petrol. You can make an alternative fuel, biofuel, from it. Paper, of course. All sorts of benefits to eat the plant, and sails for boats and things like that. And the book itself just goes into great detail about how, this is mainly in America, of course, but how the story of hemp at one time was encouraged. Farmers were fined if they didn't grow hemp, because it was a plant that was very much needed. Once its discoveries of all the different uses it could be done, of course, we know that certain people of certain bloodline families probably realize that if something is freely available, the public do not need their services, such as petroleum, and all the petrochemicals that come out of that area, which hemp, freely grown, would give people that ability to be as free as they need to create all sorts of things. And so these powerful families, it would seem, have outlawed it one way or another, said no, and instead of then encouraging people to plant hemp, it's been discouraged to the point that a lot of people don't even really know, this next generation. They'll know things like marijuana and cannabis, but they won't know all the other benefits that you could do with it. And this is what Jack Herer, I watched a documentary about it. If I remember, I'll put the link in the description. This is what he really got onto it. I mean, there's the medicinal side of things, and it's proved that it can be very beneficial, as much as the authorities will tell you a different story. But also, not only that, all the other things, I mean, bricks and various things that you can make out of it, that it can be turned into a wonderful product. And it's very natural, unlike some of the petrochemicals, particularly in wearing clothes that have been made from hemp, that is better for the body. It just seems incredible that the story of its obliteration, for want of a better word, is still out there, 70 years apparently, in which, maybe longer, in which hemp has been demonized as something which is of no value whatsoever. And yet the truth is very different. Well, Julia and I on our farm would like to grow some and test it and have a look and try it and see what it's like. It's not about getting the sort of psycho side of it, the sort of, hey man, I'm on the wicked weed. No, that's not the thing that I'm interested in at all. I'm much more interested in the more practical features of it and the health benefits, of course, and something that was abundant and was able to be grown freely, that is now, I gather in some places you're supposed to have a license to grow it, which is crazy for something that is a natural plant, that grows out of the ground. I could understand somebody making, poisons and things that you'd need some form of approval from somewhere. I'm not keen on licenses and things like that make you subservient. However, in certain areas, but something that has so much benefit, it seems to me extremely weird. And that you can't grow something. There was a film, if I remember rightly, let's have a look, I'm just trying to remember it, Hemp for Victory in 1943, and people were encouraged to grow hemp. And it says here, every American farmer who could be rounded up in 1943 was compelled to sit through a showing of Hemp for Victory and then sign a document that he'd seen it. After that, he was given a copy of this brochure, the Farmer's Bulletin, number 1935, Hemp. And in it, it tells you how to grow the crop, what you can do with it, how to harvest it. And then as a commercial crop, for the benefit of the world, it would be fantastic. And if people believe all that rubbish about, excuse me, that rubbish about global warming, hemp would be the solution to that, because it's a natural product. It isn't burning diesel and petrol. We haven't got to have wind turbines and solar panels everywhere. We could have a wonderful product that has so many benefits to everybody. And yet, from that point onwards, from the 30s onwards, it's been demonized. And it just strikes me as being absolutely bizarre. Here's some interesting facts. Hemp grows best, as indicated, in low-level marshes. More humus and more moisture provide the entire ideal environment. Hemp, the little glutton, uses much water over its lifespan, which it sucks through deep roots from the bottom of the marshes. I think it would be great on our farm, because we've got a bit of clay and stuff, and there's water quite close to the surface. We've got to find out where that is and try and get that source. But there's so much benefit to mankind. Perhaps we've got to rethink about some of these things that we have been told, and that the powers that ought not be have tried to keep away and try to eradicate something which has so much benefit to so many people, instead of these petrochemical solutions that we've been given, that is making money for billionaires and keeping people ill and under the thumb and polluting. And yet we don't need to do any of that. So it's going to be an interesting journey to understand and learn a little bit about this product, and work out why we can't get back to a world in which many of these things that we know about, which were once good for us, have been twisted, and now we're being told other things. So yeah, it's The Emperor Wears No Clothes, The Authoritative History Record of Cannabis and the Conspiracy Against Marijuana, How Hemp Could Save the World. It's fascinating. I've only really started to have a good old nose at it. In the meantime, my book, Biggleswick, The Town That Wouldn't Comply, is still available if you would like a copy. Just email me, richard@vobes.com. I appreciate everybody who's bought one, and people have come back to me saying that they've thoroughly enjoyed it, which is brilliant news. I have got a second book idea if you're interested, and it would be lovely to make a crack on that at some point. Obviously, Julia and I have thrown our hand in on the land, and we're doing great guns there, so there's a lot of work to do. But at some point, I reckon a little writing hut on the land so that one can visit and spend a couple of hours would be great. But Biggleswick, with the various truth bombs in there on getting round things like the council tax, understanding what's going on in the schools, appreciating the troublesome Great Grid upgrade, the whole load of 17 sustainable goals, so-called, the 15-minute cities, the 5G, all the stuff that you know I've been talking about has been placed into this book, and The Town That Wouldn't Comply come together and discover a way to knock back and decide we're not having any of this. And some people have said, you know, having read the book, I hope that it comes true, and I do. That's why I wrote it. Anyway, there we go. It is time to get back some of those things that we want, the people want, and that is good for us, and not what an overarching authority who thinks they know what's best for us, because it seems that they don't, and in fact they have a completely different agenda. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.